Hey guys, it's Fred. I'm coming at you with another Mike Elam video. Again, I didn't know who Mike Elam was until they had this press conference on Buford Pusser and accusing him of murder. And I find out that Mike Elam and Oakley Dean Baldwin are the two lead investigators behind the TBI's claim that Buford killed his wife. And I'm going to start going through Mr. Elam's videos. I want to point things out to you as an investigator. And again, I'm not a smart man, so if I can find this stuff, I'm sure you guys have already noticed it probably before I have. But let's just go through and let's just point out some things that people watches on his videos, and let's see what your take is on it.
Everyone, we're here at Buford Pusser, The Other Story, and today I'm going to share a little information that I've never really shared completely before. And I don't think I'll do it completely this time, and you'll understand why once I explain. You've heard me describe on several occasions how Jim Moffitt was with Buford the day he killed Louise.
That's the first thing, guys. You've heard me describe on several occasions. I can describe to you anything I want to. I can tell you that I've been to Mars and the moon. I can tell you that. What proof do I have to show you? Please, everybody, start looking for proof. Start asking questions from people, from everybody. Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. And always look for Photoshops. Always look for, there's so many fraudulent things out there nowadays. But listen to this man right here, and let's see some evidence. Let's see where he gets his information. Let's see if he tells us.
Hathcock. Now, of course, as I've stated before, Jim was in the hallway just outside Louise Hathcock's room when Buford shot and killed her. Now, others that were in the office, the back office, said they heard Buford's gunfire first.
Okay, see guys, if that is true, and I'm not saying everything Mr. Elam says is not true. I don't believe it, but what would be nice here is to show proof. That would be the first place right here where he says the people that were in the back room says that the first gun that they heard fire first was Buford. See, I'm not up on Buford Pusser history, Sheila and I are not. We've never been fans, we've never been foes, but we're not up on it. So this would be a good place for two people that's new to all this, for him to hold up a statement sheet, a signed statement, dated and witnessed, where these people that was in the back office, he claims that was there, where they state, we heard Buford's gun shoot before we did Pauline's. Let's see if we see that as we go along. I'm just pointing that out. But see, that would be, that's evidence that we would need to see. Otherwise, all we're hearing is what Mike's telling. Mike's telling a story here. It'd be nice if he could back it up with some facts.
Now, you have to wonder exactly what Jim heard to make him go home and tell his wife and his oldest son, if anything ever happens to me, you don't need to look any further than Buford Pusser.
Now, I have heard that statement many times from Mr. Elam. He's said that many times. Jim Moffitt said, now that's his chief deputy, that's his friend. He's friends with Buford Pusser. Out of all the deputies he's got, that's the chief deputy. Your chief deputy is not only your confidant, but that's your friend. You count on him. That's your next in line. But yet, this man's his chief deputy, and Mr. Elam says that he went home and told his wife and kids to, if anything ever happens to me, look no further than Buford Pusser. Look no further than his boss, than his friend. Because, see, he was there for years and years and years and served as Buford's chief deputy. Let's see if we see any evidence. Have we ever seen any evidence to that statement? Has he ever said where he heard that from, and that he got a tape interview with somebody that told him that, a family member, his wife, his children? Does he have them on tape telling them, or are they now deceased. They told him that, but now they're dead and there's no way to go back and confirm. Because, see, when you have that, you have nothing more than a rumor that somebody's made up about a dead man. Do we believe that this man worked for Sheriff Pusser and continued to work for him? Did he ever turn the sheriff in? Did he ever call him out for corruption? Did he ever go to the FBI or the media? Or did he retire and go on with his life? And then down the road, after Jim Moffitt passed, then all of a sudden somebody comes along and Mr. Elam says, oh, he said this and he said that. Well, first I'd like to see the statements. I'd like to see a tape recording where he's actually talking to the person that's telling him that. But I'd like to see something before Jim Moffitt passed away so we could go back to Jim Moffitt and ask him why he made that statement for. Now, if you want to know the truth, I don't believe for 1 minute that Jim Moffitt made that statement against Buford Pusser, his boss. And I don't believe Mr. Elam has any proof to the effect that it would prove that he did say that.
I think that indicates that he had not necessarily a fear for himself.
It's funny how everything gives Mr. Elam these ideals. It indicates to him that he had a fear and so forth, but when I make a video about Mr. Elam or question any of the comments that he's made or anything, he gets upset because it indicates to me that he's not telling the truth, but he gets ill with me, but it's okay for him to indicate or have an opinion about other people or what they may have said or that he alleges that they have said.
But Jim had a large family, and he knew that the family required his support. And
what family out there doesn't require the husband's support, guys? What family out there doesn't require it?
I think it's just one of those things where he just didn't feel safe around Buford.
He didn't feel safe around Buford, but let's look at the evidence. See, Mike says Jim Moffitt, his chief deputy, didn't feel safe around Buford Pusser, but I'll go ahead and work for you, Buford. I'll work for you the whole term. Every term you get elected, I'm there for you. Really, guys? This is what you call speaking something into history. This is a storyteller. He is a storyteller and a half.
Now, if that were the only time that it happened, that would be one thing.
Okay.
But then you learn that after Pauline was shot,
all right,
Buford was in the hospital at Baptist in Memphis.
Okay.
And Warren Jones and Jim went to visit Buford. Well, for some reason, Warren got delayed in the hallway on the way down. So Jim was a few steps ahead of him and went into Buford's room. And when Buford saw him, he reached out his arms to embrace Jim. And Jim went over, I guess they gave each other a man hug. And while they were doing as such, Buford mumbled something on the order of, "My God, Jim, what have I done?" Now, I know that a lot of people will take that different ways, that it could have...
Well, first of all, the man's face is shot off, that he could talk that well. Second of all, you're right. A lot of people can take that different ways. You can take it in all kinds of ways. Why did I let her ride with me? Why did I do it? You sure can. The way I take it is, it's mumble jumble. What I want to see here is not what Mr. Elam says that Buford said to Jim, "My Lord, why did I do that?" or whatever he said. That's not the question. The question is, where's the proof? Where's the proof that he said it at all? Where's the proof that Buford made any type of statement like that to Moffitt whatsoever? See, that's a statement that's written or spoken into history on Mr. Elam's part, unless he's got a tape recording or a certified signed statement to that effect by somebody that's credible.
Meant absolutely anything. Of course, I think it meant something in particular to Jim. About that time, Warren walked in the room, and Buford didn't say anything more like that.
Guys, isn't it funny that Mr. Elam knows? Have you guys ever... See, I've just started watching his videos. I'm not a viewer. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm thankful. It kills me to have to watch them now, but I'm going to critique them. So in order to look for discrepancies and untruths, and I have to watch his videos. I have to sit through them. But for you people that have watched his videos, and now you're watching mine just to see what I have to say about it, have you guys not picked up that he tells a story, that he's telling you something, and people are buying into his stories as if he was there, as if he was a fly on the wall and he saw this? He speaks this stuff in the history as if he knows it to be 100% or 50% or even 10% certain. He has no more. He has talked for 5 minutes or whatever it's been now, and he's not shown one piece. He's made at least 5 allegations, and he's not shown one piece of evidence to support the first one. Not the first statement, not the first tape recording, not the first anything. And he's talking as if he was there, as if he knows this.
I don't know if he felt like he could trust Jim or not. What the circumstance was that he wouldn't speak that way in front of Thron. But at any rate, I know that after they had visited the ambush sites, they had already seen.
At any rate, that's how the story goes. And at any rate, and he changes and goes to another segment of his mind, another story that he wants to tell as if something else had happened. Okay, at any rate, I'm not going to show you any proof of this. I don't have nothing to show you that substantiates what I just told you is true, but okay, at any rate, we're going to move on. And then a person takes what he just said for the truth. Guys, as of right now, being that there's no proof to any of these things that he says that Jim Moffitt or anybody else says, that means that they are nothing more than a rumor that he has come up with himself. And nobody's holding his feet to the fire to say, okay, Mike, where did you hear this at? Mike, where did you see this at? Mike, where's the videotape of this at? Where's a signed statement to this effect? It's nothing more than spoken into history.
The Fury, they had seen the evidence there. They were in a little bit of a meeting, I guess, one day, and the TBI asked Moffitt, well, who do you think killed Pauline? And his answer, to me, was a little surprising. He said, Buford Pusser.
To me, was a little bit surprising. I don't know why it would be surprising to you, Mike. You've done said that they heard different calibers of guns. Buford shoot first. You've done said he went home and told his wife, something happens to me, it don't look no further than Buford. You've done said he in fear of Buford. You've done said he's said, why'd I do that for, and so forth. Why would that be surprising that Moffitt would say that? But see, guys, there's about 6 statements now. 6 straight out statements that Mr. Elam says that Moffitt or somebody else has said, and with not one shred of evidence to back it up. Not one statement. He's not held up one document. You know, there's a thing called in law enforcement as statements. There's been people taking statements in law enforcement for as far back as there's been police departments. Write down what happened. Tell us what happened. We need your signature. We need the time, date, when, what, where, how, when, why. We need that. That's the questions. He's not shown us one iota of anything.
Now, what kind of a answer is that for a chief deputy to give about his sheriff, unless that he has certain suspicions? Or
we don't know, Mike. We don't know what kind of answer that would be for a man to give that kind of answer about his sheriff. See, we don't know that statement was ever made. There's been no proof. Why would a man, here's your question, why would a man sit at a desk with his computers and tell a story such as these with no documentation and no proof to back them up? The other question is, why has family members never filed legal action against this man for some of the stories that he says? It doesn't matter about just Buford Pusser. This is Jim Moffitt. This is his family that he's referring to now. I don't know the Moffitts. I don't know any of these people. But why is it that nobody has come back. Is this true? Is what he's saying is true from the Moffett family? And there's proof? Or is Jim Moffett passed on now? His family's passed on? His children's not interested? Or they've passed on? Where is the proof at that any of these statements was ever made? And if they wasn't made and he's speaking them in the history, why hasn't the family filed a legal action against them? Why is that? Because that would make you think, well, okay, Elam must be telling the truth then. Nobody's ever sued. Well, do they just not want to sue? They don't believe in suits. It's against their religion. They don't have time to deal with it. Or is what he's saying true? Because, see, there's always that little 0.5% of a, but where's the proof? He's not showing any proof whatsoever. He's not telling who told him this. He talks as if he was there.
Knowledge for himself. You know, that wouldn't be the only time he would make remarks like that. It was several years later, a few years later at least, when Jim and a coworker were discussing that. Jim had left the ship.
Okay, this would be a good name, a good place to give the co-worker's name. This would be a great place, Mr. Elam, to tell us what co-worker, since we're going to hear some kind of a statement, derogatory more than likely, against Buford. Since we're going to hear this statement, let's find out who it was told to. In case the person that told that person is deceased, maybe we can go talk to the person that he told it to and ask them or question them. Or are they too deceased?
Sheriff's office a couple of times. He had left early before Buford was completely out of office, and they asked Jim why. And his answer to that question was, well, I was afraid I would be next. And I think that can only say one thing. I mean, he had his suspicions. Now, here's the part.
He was afraid he was going to be next. He couldn't quit. He just couldn't quit the sheriff's office and go home and be safe. He continued to work for a sheriff that he was scared of and thought he was going to be killed. Wow. And you guys listen to this.
That I'm not going to share. And I hope you'll understand this.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for not sharing, Mike. Thank you for not sharing any more than you already have. Believe me, we've got our waders on.
I've got a lot of naysayers out there, a lot of willfully ignorant people who would not.
See, there's a lot of ignorant people, guys, out there. You might say 909 of them. Jim Jones had 909 ignorant people that listened to him say, drink up, children, drink the Kool-Aid. Mike says he's got a lot of ignorant people out there talking about anybody that questions him, anybody that questions what he says as being the truth. Those people are ignorant. Now, those people that listen to his stories and believe everything that he says with no proof, those people are smart.
I found a way to make my day.
Admit something was the truth, even if they knew it to be, because they are so entrenched in supporting the Pusser legend.
See, that's not true, Mike. There's those of us out here that would go either way. There's those of us out here that would love to see proof, would love to see any kind of proof. But what you like to allege there, you tell these stories and then you try to point that finger so other people will think, well, they're just not believing it because they're Pusser fans. Sheila and I are not Pusser fans or foes. Sheila and I are investigating. We're trying to see what the truth really is on Buford Pusser. Was he a bad man? Was he a good man? Did he murder his wife? We're not seeing it. We're hearing stories. We're hearing spoken in the history stories. We're not seeing statements, police reports. We're not hearing tape recordings. We're hearing a man sit here 58 years later and tell stories on a YouTube channel where he writes a book. That's what we're hearing. And we're the idiots for asking questions about the person that's giving out this information.
and have been for so long, they don't know how to accept the truth.
Okay, guys, y'all help me on this, please. Put it in the comments. How do we accept the truth? Now, he's told us about 8 to 10 things here. He's told us that they used a different caliber gun. He's told us Jim Moffett was scared for his life for several different reasons and occasions. He's told us what was said in the hospital. He's told us Jim Moffett said the only reason he continued to work for Buford because he was scared. Does that make sense? You continue to go to work every day and be around the very person that you fear is going to kill you? Does that? Where's the proof? Where's the evidence?
And another reason I don't want to give out how I learned all this just yet is because...
My guess would be because it's made up. My guess would be because you've spoken it in the history, and either half of the people's deceased now, and now you're just waiting for the other party to be deceased that you're wanting to imply that this was told to. Then after they're all deceased, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story now. I can tell you all, but I can't confirm it because all the parties are dead. I'm sorry, guys, but it's just the way it is.
People that I viewed as friends have now decided to go out and write books, and they're talking about their investigations.
Oh, we know who he's talking about here. I have heard this through the grapevine that him and his buddy here had a falling out. Now he wrote a book, and now they're mad at each other because Mike's the big man on the block and somebody else is stealing his fibs from him.
And I can't figure out what they're talking about because I've been the only one out there doing this for years. I was years ahead of everyone. The closest book
Mike was slinging manure before it was ever known. Mike was putting it out there. He was shoveling it out when Carl and Helen was probably alive. We know he was shoveling it out when Dwana, poor old Dwana, was alive and drove her crazy over his allegations and rumors and slanderous remarks. We know that. She either de-lifed herself or somebody de-lifed her. That's still in question. Maybe someday, I don't know, maybe Mike will be dead and gone by then, or maybe we all will, but maybe someday somebody will investigate that and find out who did that to her, if that's what happened.
To mine came out about 18 months later, and I described basically what I had figured out happened in my book. About 18 months later, another person writes a book, doesn't tell very much about the ambush at all. No real information. But now...
See, no real information because maybe he's not as good at making it up as you are, Mike. Maybe he's not as seasoned. Maybe he's not as chance-taken. No real evidence. There is no real evidence that the TBI and the Highway Patrol and the FBI didn't have back in 1967 that's out there today. There's no new developments.
I guess he's decided that he's conducted his own investigation and came up with the same thing I did. Well, go figure where he got that, because...
Yeah, that's what Mike has a hard time figuring, guys. Look at his face. Now, that's why Mike has a hard time. Go figure that. I've made this crap up, and now this man says he's found the same evidence I did. Well, if he did, that means he got it from Mike because Mike's the only one that made it up. That's what Mike can't figure out. How in the world did he get all this information when I was the one that created it? Oh, wow. So he knows. Mike knows the guy copied his book because he's got the same stories Mike's got. Mike knows he made those stories up, in my opinion.
I can't find hardly anybody that's ever spoken to the gentleman. So that tells you what will happen if you...
Mike, no wonder you can't find them. They're all dead, remember? The people that you've talked to, the people you say that you're quoting, remember? You're talking to their children's, grandchildren's children, remember? Because they're all deceased now, and you have to go down the line.
You release your information too quickly. Because I've decided I'm going to write a book, I think I'm probably as qualified as anyone to go ahead and write one, since I was the one that got the location of a gun that was possibly used. The contact called me, didn't call anybody else. said that they felt like they could trust me. They'd watched what I was doing for so long.
They can trust you.
know,
They can trust you to be a co-conspirator with them in covering up the theft of a military firearm, from what I've heard on your past videos.
I shared with the TBI that, hey, I'd look for Pauline's autopsy, and there wasn't one to be found, and that I'd contacted Dr. Jerry Francisco. I sent them a recorded version of the interview, or conversation, if you will. And so they had that.
That is evidence, guys. He sent the TBI a recorded interview where he's calling and asking somebody if Pauline had an autopsy, and they've said no. But he talks. I sent them the recorded video of that. I sent it like that's evidence, like that's.
Gave them a list of witnesses that had never been interviewed. And I don't know what these other
Witnesses to this day, witnesses 58 years later, witnesses that the TBI and the Highway Patrol didn't go talk to 58 years ago, and he's found witnesses today. Is that something? Nobody came forward 58 years ago in one of the biggest cases that ever took place in Tennessee, but now Mike has dug them up, guys.
people are claiming that they say that they investigated all this because, like I say, I was 5 years ahead of.
Listen what a sad little man. Listen at the sour grapes. Oh, wait a minute. I was investigating this before anybody was. I wrote the first book. They're copying off me. I can't believe they're doing me like this. Listen at this grown 70-year-old man, guys. Listen how sad. Now, he drove Dwana crazy, but listen to this man because somebody's copied his book.
Of even the TBI and anyone else actually coming out with a book about the ambush.
Take
Wow,
40%
fellas.
off fall decor right now at Hobby Lobby.
I'm going to tell you, that's a sad fella right there. It really is.
And so in my next book, I'm going to reveal, because it's going.
Oh, okay. So now, see, he's already starting another book. Now, I seen where Oakley Dean Baldwin has already written his second one or his first one, whatever it is, but it says the death of Pauline Pusser solved. So he's already got one out. So now Mike, now that the TBI and Mr. Davidson has backed up what Mike and Baldwin have said, now they're in the book writing, guys. They're getting their new copies out. They've been confirmed. They've been certified. They've been, what's that woman say on that old brother where I thought? They've been certified or something. She said bona fide. These guys are bona fide now because we've got a couple of a TBI agent and a prosecutor that also wanted to be name recognition, wanted to be known. So now they've all four conspired with each other and, oh yeah, we got this big case. We've got this solved. We can all be famous now. Go write your books, guys.
To be in the report, but I want you to hear it from me before you hear all these other people claiming that, oh, they came up with this or they came up with that, because
Mike, don't worry. Most of the sensible people out there will never, ever, most of the smart people out there will never, ever, ever claim that they got any evidence from you other than the TBI or Mr. Davidson, and that was for name recognition, fame, and fortune only. There's nothing you've got that we can authenticate as the truth. This man is the man that was in possession along with the other guy with a stolen weapon, went out and shot a stolen weapon and kept the casings. As of right now, the casings and the bullets, as far as we know, are still in his possession. What's he going to do with those casings?
I just don't think it's right for him to do that. So, having said that,
it's right to call Pauline a liar. Not Pauline, but it's right to call Pauline a stripper. It's right to call Helen, claim that she spent Dwana's life savings. It's right to call Dwana a liar because she said she tried to pull her dad from the fire. It's right to claim that Buford murdered his wife. It's right to claim that Carl, Buford's dad, covered for him the morning of the ambush. All these things are right, but boy, if you guys try to copy my book or write a book from me or claim something that I've said, I don't like that much. Well,
Now you know why I'm not stating exactly where I got my information just yet. Now, having said that, I hope you understand. But moving on, we need to talk for just a moment about the tour in October. This year, of course, it's going to be on Saturday, October.
now he's got this tour coming up. That's what he got upset at me. He said I was going to get him beat up at his tour because we were enlightening people that Mike was not being completely honest with them or honest at all on some topics. Now he's done talked about his book. He made 10 statements here about Moffat and different people that Buford thinks Buford was supposed to said, but all of a sudden he's over on his book, and now he's over on to his bus tour. He's over on his bus tour. He says that this doesn't do nothing for him. I don't guess he sells no books on his bus tour. I don't guess he takes donations on his bus tour. I don't guess he lets people buy gas for him on his bus tour. Guys, truth has no agenda. You see there? Let's say his agenda has no truth. His agenda is about selling books and about giving tours and about getting attention. This man, in my opinion, this man is a legend in his own mind. Thanks, guys. I'm not going to watch the rest of this video. You all can watch it if you want. It's up there at the top left, episode 142. What did Jim Moffat know? So if you want to watch the rest of his video, I don't want to show his whole video. Let him get the clicks on it. That's what he wants. Go watch it if you want to, and maybe you'll get more out of it than I did. Thanks.